Hello, I wanted to welcome you today. Whether you've been here before or not, I make videos about living the life of your dreams, doing a job or work that you love, and doing it on your own terms, and saving money. So today I wanted to make a follow-up video to a video that I made a little bit ago about being almost 60 years old. I'm 59, I'll be 60 in July, and not really having a lot of retirement money set aside. Well, let's be honest, having no retirement money set aside, approaching 60, and wondering what I'm going to do when I do want to retire. So today's video is going to be a follow-up to that video. So first off, in that last video, I got a lot of recommendations to sell my condo and to move to somewhere less expensive. I'm not going to sell my condo. I have a business that I love here in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is an expensive place to live. I may not live here forever, but while I run my business and I'm able to pay my bills, I'm going to stay here. My condo is almost paid off. It is, for me, it's forced savings because the property values in LA, my whole life, appreciate. They have taken dips here and there, but they always come back. It's a good location. I'm near a very expensive area. The median home price is in the millions. My condo's not in the millions, but I'm near some very nice homes. And that's also where my clients are. My clients are all within 2 to 3 miles of where I live, so it's very easy for me to get to them. Another little bit of backstory, I had brain surgery in March. My health insurance is covered here. So I don't want to, there's a couple reasons I don't want to sell my home. One, moving is a pain in the neck, but I could get over that. I've moved enough times in my life. I know how to pack up a house. That's not the issue. But the majority of my assets are tied up in this condo. I like it that way because I can't squander it. I can't blow it. I can't waste it. If I ever am in a dire situation, I have the condo to fall back on. I like it as something to fall back on. And I like watching the value grow without me really doing anything. I owe $23,000 on the condo. It'll be paid off within the next 4 years. Now is not the time for me to sell it, personally. And that's a decision that I'm making based on knowing myself. I know that I can be really good with money. I can scrimp and save and be frugal for months, if not years. And then I can let the floodgates open and blow it. And so I know that about myself, and keeping the condo and keeping the money basically tied up in this real estate is good for me. The other thing is my business is here. I have a business that does very well in a big city. I have a lot of clients that are nearby that can afford my services. If I sold the condo and I moved to a less expensive area, cheaper part of the country, for one, I wouldn't be welcome because I've lived all over the country and everywhere but California did not want a Californian living there. The other states are not welcoming to Californians. I've lived in Mississippi, Arkansas, Rhode Island, Georgia, and Texas. All of those places, as soon as you tell them that you're from California, they start treating you poorly and they start making digs about it. I got to the point where I stopped telling people where I was from. I was born in Indiana. I started telling people I was from Indiana. There is something about Californians. We get blamed for driving home prices up and making affordable housing unaffordable to the locals. So we're not welcome there. I'm also not going to move to a place where I don't have any community or friends or family. I have friends here. I recently had a surgery and my kids don't live in the state of California anymore. They did when I moved here. I moved out here in 2017 to help my mother take care of my grandmother and to be closer to my children and my grandchildren. Well, that plan, as a lot of plans, got a lot of kinks in it. My grandmother, we knew she was 95. We knew she wasn't going to do well for much longer, and my mom desperately needed help. I had no idea how much help my mom needed until I got here and I started helping her. That year, within 9 months of me moving out here in 2017, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer. And so I was taking care of both of them full time. That same year, my daughter's husband, who was in the Navy at the time, got relocated to Virginia. And so they moved, and their little girls moved with them. So I lost my daughter, and then I didn't lose her, but I lost her to the state of California. And then my son, who was also married with with 3 little children, he was within an hour's drive, and he was having a hard time finding work and finding affordable housing. He had a home, but he was house poor. Basically, all the money that they made was going to the mortgage payment. And so they decided they were going to move somewhere cheaper, like everybody was recommending that I do. And for them, it was a good move. They had equity in their home. They have 3 little kids. They took him to a more rural area in Missouri. And I visited him in that area. If I moved near my son, I would have no clients. I could not do my pet care business out in the area where he's located. The population is just too small, and there's not enough disposable income to warrant the services that I provide. It's kind of a niche area. When I was in Arkansas, I didn't know anybody who hired a dog walker. And it's kind of the same for Missouri. There are pet sitting companies that are in those locations, but they don't do the same volume. And I would have only my son. I do have another friend that lives out there as well that's been a longtime friend of mine. And with my potential I've got 6 weeks of radiation coming up. I don't know what my vision's going to be like because the tumor that they operated on last month, half of it's still there. And so I'm not done with my medical treatments either. And I don't know what I'm going to be like when they're all done. I learned that the hard way after this last surgery. So I feel like I need to stay here, keep my biggest asset safe, keep my business going for as long as I can. I've gone back to work part-time. I'm not full-time right now because I am still recovering from my brain surgery and I'm about to have 6 weeks worth of radiation. But I have been able to go back to work part-time. And I've reduced my bills to the point where part-time will cover my bills for right now. Before my surgery, I had 3 months of expenses saved up. I no longer have that, so I'm currently working on saving that up. And it's just medically, it's not a good time for me to move. If I change states, then my insurance is going to change. And I would hate to have a lapse in insurance while I've got so many expensive treatments in my future. So for now, at least, I'm staying in California where I have friends that basically looked after me. I don't have any family left in the state of California. My brother has moved I didn't finish that story, but my brother moved to Arizona the year after I got here. My son and daughter left. My grandmother passed away. My mother passed away the following year. I had an uncle here. He passed away right after my mom did. And 2018 and 19 were kind of rough years. I found myself alone out here, but I had inherited this condo. There was still a mortgage on it. It was about 50% of the mortgage was paid off when I inherited it. And now I've got, like I said, 4 years left on the mortgage, and I'll have it complete. I'll have it free and clear. Yes, there are HOA fees, which is why I don't plan to stay here into retirement. But while I'm working and generating income, I do plan on staying here because of the location and because of the friendship and the community that I have here. I have friends within this condo complex that came into my home every morning and every night and took care of my dogs and my cats. They fed them, they walked them, they took out my trash, they checked on me, they did wellness checks, and they asked for nothing in return. I have other friends that offered to bring me food. I declined because I just didn't want the company right after my surgery, but I had so many people that were not blood relatives in this area offer to take care of me. And they meant it. They weren't hollow, like we're thinking of you, we're praying for you. It wasn't that sort of thing, which I appreciate prayers and thoughts, but people were actually showing up and taking care of me. So I have a fondness for this area. My clients, I passed them off to one of my best friends in the area who also looked after me. And she took care of my clients for the 2 months that I wasn't working. I didn't lose a single client. They all came back. They were all grateful to have me back. Some of them gave me cash bonuses when I came back. They let me come when I want to. They kept the visits short. I mean, they really treated me like family. I had one client that offered, she was so sweet. She said, I don't want you overdoing it. When you come here, I'm going to feed you breakfast. And then after you walk the dog, you can have a little snack. I bought you some salads. You can take a nap. I've got spare bedrooms. And she said, and if you want, you could even bring your dogs and you could stay here because I don't want you to be alone while you're recovering. I didn't take her up on any of that. But she was serious and she meant it. She really wanted to look after me. Who would move from a place where you're treated so well? It's more than the money. But back to the money. So when you're approaching 60 and you don't have retirement savings, in a way, I do, because when I sell this home, it's a condo in LA. The property values are very good. It'll be paid off by the time I am done working. And I'll have a nice little nest egg. Another thing that I personally set up for myself, and I'm only mentioning this because it's something not to be overlooked, but I was married for a long time. And when I got divorced, not my choice, my ex-husband was, he had a problem with being honest and being faithful. And he ended up filing for divorce because he couldn't promise to be honest or faithful. And when someone tells you that they can't promise they won't do it again and they don't want to hurt you again, I believed him. So we got divorced. I don't hate him. I've forgiven him a long time ago. But when we got divorced, I did get half of the marital assets. So one of those marital assets was a pension. And so that is kicking in next month. It's small. It's not enough to retire on, but it adds to the pile. So I've got a few $100s that are going to start getting deposited into my account from an old pension. So I have a small pension, I have a condo that's paid off, and I do have a business that is generating income. Also, something else that I have that just kicked in was my YouTube channel got monetized in January. And I haven't done any follow-up videos on that because at the end of May will be my first check. Even though I got monetized in January, they have a $100 minimum threshold that you have to meet in order to receive any checks or deposits. And my channel is little. It's not, a lot of people think, oh, I'll get monetized and I'll just start making thousands of dollars every month. Not for me. That may be true for some people, but for my little channel, that has not been the case. The first month in January, I earned $10 in ad revenue. In February, it did go up. It was more like 20. In March, it was in the 30s. And then finally in April, I hit the $100 threshold. And they pay you a month late. So what I'm getting paid at the end of this month, $108, will be for the first 4 months of the year, which is when I got monetized. And it's not a lot, but I have noticed that every month it's gone up a little bit. So hopefully that will continue to grow too. And I know that I need to work on the quality of my videos, and I really do want to know what kind of topics you want to see, because I would like to do this long term. And if that could become a source of revenue, that's welcome as well. So that's 3 things I've got. So I've got the home that once I sell it, I can cash out there. I could also rent a room. I haven't done that yet because my condo's small. I have 1 bathroom and a tiny kitchen. And if I can live here alone, that's my preference. But I can always rent a room, and a room in Los Angeles could rent for $800 or $900. So, or at least five, anywhere from $500 to $800. And I've been doing remodeling and updates and renovations in the property for the last several years. And so the place it's nice. So that's an option as well. I'm also very frugal. I've got one credit card that has a balance, and it'll be paid off in the next few months. I've been working very hard to get my credit cards paid off. And right now I'm also working on reestablishing my emergency fund, because I do think you need to have emergency money. And after that, I'm going to start contributing to my Roth IRA. I do have a Roth IRA. It's got a very small amount of money in there, but I am still working, and so I can still contribute to that. And that is taxed before you put the money in. So when I go to take that out someday, they don't have required minimum withdrawals like a regular IRA. So I can let that money sit. So that is my plan. If I could think of another source of passive income, that would be awesome. I think passive income is a great goal. It's not as easy as everybody says it is. I wrote a book a few years ago about pet care, and I sold almost no copies. I think with books, you really have to know how to market. And a lot of these other things, I'm not really interested in learning how to do the drop shipping. I tried eBay for years, and eBay was good, but I made another video on why I quit eBay, so I'm not going to go into a lot of that here, but I like having my house back and not dealing with the emails. I've also made videos on different side hustles that I've tried that I thought really were a bust. And I've made another video on side hustles that I thought were great. And I think for everybody, as we get older, if you can think of a side hustle that you enjoy, if you can create some passive income, whether it's through investments or rental property. I was talking to one of my friends over the weekend. She invited me over for a puppy play date. She's got a puppy. I brought Butch over there to meet her puppy, and I brought Betty over there to keep him under control. And she's been self-employed her whole life. She was married for 20 plus years, but her ex-husband was very spotty on his work. And so she was under the impression that based on her Social Security letters that they send out telling you what your estimates are, her estimate sheet was telling her that she's not entitled to any Social Security. She didn't realize that she could collect up to 50% of her ex-husband's amount that he's eligible for. It doesn't take away from his amount at all. It's just a Social Security rule. And she also didn't realize that she was entitled to widow benefits when he dies someday. She said, well, but I'm divorced. I'm not married to him anymore. I said, doesn't matter. The rule for that, for both, is if you were married 10 full years or more, you're entitled, and you're not remarried. If you remarry, then you're entitled to your current husband's benefits. But if you're single up to 60, and you have not remarried and you were married for 10 years, you are entitled to spousal benefits and eventually widow benefits. I'm not going to explain all of that here, but if you go to ssa.gov, they have all the rules there. I would get the rules directly from the source, because I don't want to explain it incorrectly. But she had no idea. She thought she was just out of luck because she had been a stay-home wife while they were married, and then self-employed. She's been a dog walker for 30 years and pet sitter. So she thought she wasn't entitled to any benefits at all, and she is. So another thing that based on our conversation, I was telling her about the Social Security rules. If you're approaching 60, it's time to start brushing up on those rules. If you can start investing in a Roth IRA or a regular IRA or a 401k or a SEP IRA, and I'm not going to tell you which one's right for you. That's for you to research and decide based on your situation. But if you can get some money invested, do it. If you can get some cash that's liquid for emergencies, do it. If you can take that cash and put it in a high yield savings account so it's earning interest, even better. That's where my money, right now I'm doing my savings challenge, my 100 envelope savings challenge again, because it's a fun little game. But once it's full, I'm taking that money and putting it in a high yield savings account. And guard your health, the most important asset of all. Stay as healthy as possible, because if you get sick, even if you have really good insurance like I did, that I had no medical bills after all these surgeries and treatments. Everything was 100% covered. So the medical bills were covered, but I wasn't covered for all the time off of work. And I'm still not back full time. I've been off for 8 weeks so far, and I've got 6 weeks of radiation in front of me. It's going to be a while. If I had had something that permanently disabled me, which hopefully this is not, I'd be out of work suddenly and unexpectedly. So save like something bad's about to happen. Don't think about it too much. You know, no point in getting yourself worried, but you should save like a very paranoid person, in my opinion. Save for, and then you can relax because you're covered. And, you know, eat healthy, get your exercise. I really believe that the reason that I am recovering as quickly and as well as I am is because I walked all day for years. I started my pet care business in 2017, and I've been full-time for 7 years. So 7 years of constant exercise, but gentle exercise. My blood pressure's been low. My pulse rate's been low. I've recovered really fast and really well. My doctor, a month ago now, when I went for the follow-up visit and my vision was all messed up and my motor skills were still messed up, he handed me disability forms and he said, "It is what it is. File for disability. You should probably sell your condo and move closer to your daughter because you're not going to be able to live alone." Well, he was wrong. And I'm grateful that he was wrong. But I've been working to get my strength back, keep my strength up, because I didn't really lose it. I am part-time, but I am able to walk the dogs and handle the big ones still. And I'm so grateful for all of that. But I do know I need to eat right, and I need to continue the course. I need to get plenty of sleep. I take naps every day because I'm still trying to just make sure that I give my body what it needs to heal. And so if I'm tired, I take a nap. And my customers have been fantastic. And my animals. I think my animals are healing me too. I've got my 2 little cats and my 2 little dogs, and they just snuggle me all day long. So I think that is it for today. I hope that you're doing well. I hope this maybe gives you some ideas on ways that you can save some money or generate some more income. Oh, you know what? I saw a video last night, and it was a 30-something, maybe 40-something-year-old woman. Maybe she was 20. It's hard for me to tell these days. Young woman. And she was ranting on TikTok. And she was saying, the baby boomers aren't retiring. They're keeping our jobs. They're not letting us have their jobs. And they're not selling their homes, so we don't have any homes to buy. And they're not babysitting our kids like they're supposed to. And they wonder why we go no contact on them. And I just want to, I was shocked, for one. We have as much right to work and to live and to enjoy life as the next person. It's, if we love our jobs and we want to work till we're 100 and we can do it, we're not hurting anybody. It's not our fault if you don't like your life. So I'm not taking anybody's job. I created my own job and I love it. And I'm not going to sell my house so somebody else can buy it. I'm going to sell my house when I'm good and ready to sell it. And I'm I would be thrilled to watch my grandchildren. I love my grandchildren. I get along with both of my kids. But if both of my kids talk to me the way this woman is speaking to the older generation, I wouldn't want to come near her with a 10-foot pole, and I wouldn't want to go out of my way to do her any favors. I'd probably want to see my grandchildren, but it's not my job to take care of my grandchildren. My job was to raise my children. My job as a grandparent is to love and dote on them. But if their mom is being a jerk about it, thank you for being no contact, because nobody in their 60s or 70s needs that kind of baloney. We've lived through enough, and it's time for us to enjoy what we have left. And if you can't deal with that, give it 20 years and we'll ask you again. Anyway, I'm off the soapbox. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring and sending me all the good energy and prayers. And I'll see you next time. Bye.